comes to small gardens or spaces, and even with big spaces, we can't forget the little things, because it's the little things that matter. And when I speak about that, I refer specifically to pots, because they're mobile. You can put them anywhere. You can put them in your little courtyard, literally outside the back door, put them on a shelf, decorative elements with a purpose. And when I talk about with a purpose, I mean, use these beautiful plants that we have available to us called herbs. So I've got probably about 5 liters of my potting mix or my container mix. Into that, I'm going to add 2 handfuls of my organic pellets, and that's really all I need. And then mix it up, and we're about good to go. All right, folks, so we've got our mix, and we're just going to give it a good swirl around. Now, when it comes to the pots, of course, pots are really your choice. I'm going with colors, because why not add a bit of brightness, you know? So we're going to prepare 3 pots. Let's start off with this guy over here. Now, you'll notice really good drainage holes. Very, very important, specifically for herbs, guys. So what I use is either a few little pieces of shade cloth that we've cut up into very irregular shapes. We can either use that at the bottom, and all that does, it still allows the moisture to seep through, but stops the soil. Or we use broken bits of terracotta pots, which we call crocks. Now, the biggest thing we need to work out when we are planting up any container is to look at the size that the plant is going to get. So I've got a rosemary. You've seen rosemary growing can get yo big and yo wide. So it's very important that we don't try and squeeze this plant into a small pot. And ideally, you want to go 2 sizes bigger. And you just got to use your logic, folks, that this guy in a same size pot is really not going to work. So when we're taking it out, squeeze, 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 pop your fingers over there, all right, to give it a bit of support, and then pop it over the trunk where you're busy working. Beautiful root system here. Traditionally, like most herbs, rosemary enjoys a lot of sun. Comes from the Mediterranean regions. Oh, has so many uses, and it is so yummy to use in the kitchen. Not only that, if you use the sprigs, you know, and squeeze them and use it, just take off some of those sticks and pop them in a bowl in the kitchen with a bit of water. And they also help to keep the flies away. So my container soil is in. You'll notice that I haven't filled it all the way to the top, and that looks absolutely lovely. Now, could we go further? Could we pimp it further? Of course we could. We could add in a few little violas whilst this little guy's growing, because rosemary is quite slow. So let's pop these little guys in. I think it'll be a nice finish. Into my other 2 pots, I'm putting a beautiful little garden thyme. There are so many different varieties of thyme, from lemon thyme to the golden thyme, and they can be used anyhow, whether you're actually cooking with them or whether you're having it raw or whether you're making a tea. They are relatively slow growing, and the more you pinch them back, of course, when you're actually harvesting them, you're actually pruning it. So that means that it's going to get bushier and thicker. Thyme grows much slower, so we can put it into a smaller pot. My 3rd herb is oregano. Wonderful with tomatoes, and it is cascading. Slower growing, about the same rate than our thyme, so it can also go in a bigger pot or in one size bigger than this, which will be fine for the first year or so. Remember, when it starts getting a bit scraggly, all you've got to do is give it a good haircut, and away it comes again. So 3 beautiful herbs in pots, and you might be asking, Tanya, what's happened to the drip trays? Well, in my head, drip trays only have one use, and that's for collecting seeds. Because if I do have to put that here, unless, of course, you are using these indoors where you don't want any excess water to get onto the carpets or something like that. But the biggest mistake I find very often is that folks leave the drip tray there and you'll see water is collecting. The plants then sit in them and, yep, you got it, they then end up rotting because we spoke about well-drained medium and that they don't like wet feet. So use these for something decorative. Frisbees, nah, choose it. But guys, that's the 101 of container gardening. And I actually do love these colors.